As I lean against this beautiful Rustota, I figured I would talk about a film I've seen recently and actually pretty much enjoyed. It's Ford versus Ferrari, or Le Mans 66 in other territories. It stars Matt Damon as auto legend Carrol Shelby and Christian Bale as Ken Miles, his friend and race car driver. The film is, right now it's being touted as one of the best racing films of all time. I'm a little bit skeptical on that. It is a good film. Would I call it a great racing film? Not so sure. While there is some great shots of the various races that they did do some CGI enhancements to, some points in the film when it kind of switches between the normal live footage and then the updated CGI, or in additions of the CGI to the footage, it does kind of look a little different, so it throws you out of the world, so to speak, for just a moment. But they do a really good job of kind of syncing it all together to give it a pretty level flow all the way through. Um, as for the film, it's long. It's like 2 hours and 30 minutes long, but it's not too long in that you lose patience with it. You're waiting for a big payoff that doesn't necessarily come. It is one that does kind of build up to you. Though they don't give a lot of credence to the time pacing on the film, because it does start off saying, with Matt Damon's character Carrol Shelby coming to Ken Miles, Christian Bale, and saying, "Well, we got 90 days to build a Ford that's going to go beat Ferrari in Le Mans." Ken Miles, of course, laughs it off. Impossible. You're going to need years to do that. Then later, it kind of skips ahead to a point where some internal conflicts are going on, and Ken ends up getting sidelined for the 65 Le Mans race, and Ford, of course, craps out of it. All three cars that they put forward don't end up doing well at all in the race, and Ferrari wins again. This, of course, pisses off Henry Ford II, who then is like, "All right, Carrol, you got one person to answer to in the company, and that is me." Carrol says, "Okay, let's get this party started." So they go to work. They soup up a couple GT40s, with Carrol Shelby, Ken Miles driving them to determine the best clutch, gearbox combination, along with the engine and, of course, some varying factors with the body of the vehicle to increase its speed, maneuverability, and reliability, which is a big thing in a 24-hour race at Le Mans, which is something that Ferrari has just dominated because they are high-performance vehicles that are extremely reliable in race settings, versus the Ford, which at this time didn't really have any kind of vehicle that considered it a sports car. The early iteration of the Mustang had been out for a year, 2 years at this point, and we're just kind of like, eh. Several times in the film they actually refer to it as a secretary's car, and it is kind of funny because the early generations of the Mustangs were secretary car, a little inline six-cylinder putting out 183, 250 horses, something like that. Probably not even that many. And then, of course, you hear of the legendary GT350 that Carrol Shelby, of course, would soup up, along with the GT500, King of the Road, Super Snakes, which are now coming back out and are superb vehicles that are pretty much competing with the likes of the Dodge Challenger Hellcat, the Chevy Corvette Z06, ZR1, those various models. Okay, back to the film. Again, there was areas where it was a little slow, but it did try to pick up in terms of the pacing on it once the race has started. And you could kind of see the conflict between Carrol Shelby and Ken Miles. They are friends, but they're also rivals in a sense, because both of them have large egos, and both of them believe that they are right in pretty much everything they do. There's a couple sweet scenes where they bicker back and forth, leading to the scene that was shown in the trailer. Of course, them fighting and swinging Wonder Bread at each other. Again, it's a cute scene, kind of adds to the friendship or the friendly rivalry between the two. And one other specific character I think did a good job is that I don't have his name, but it's the boy that played Ken Miles' son in this. It's a very expressive face, kind of sad eyes, that move between wonderment, amazement, and this kind of like sad, foreboding sense when he sees his dad kind of failing at a couple different things. Because early in the movie, it shows some financial troubles that end up leading Ken to question whether or not he's going to be a racer anymore, or whether he's going to move into a more steady line of work to support his family. So once you get kicked ahead to the actual 66 Le Mans race, it does end up speeding up a lot there. Shows some more internal strife between Leo Beebe, played by Josh Lucas, and Lee Iacocca, played by John Bernthal. Both did a pretty good job in it. I do like John Bernthal's character a little bit more. He does have more, obviously, more lines in the film, but he seems to have a little bit more of a part in the start of it than so in the end, because he is the one that does go to Ferrari and present Ford's offer to purchase the company from Enzo Ferrari. And of course, at that point, Enzo kind of thumbs his nose at him a little bit and is like, get out of here. That in turn pisses off Henry Ford II, who then says, I'm going to beat Ferrari at his own game, which he does in the 66 Le Mans race. Spoiler alert. Again, like I said, some of the internal Ford conflicts does appear later on in the film when the 66 race is going on. You see Leo Beebe's character is trying to position himself as being, in essence, the savior of Ford, to buddy up to Henry Ford rather than Carrol Shelby's character, who is kind of the wildcatter, the Texan with the cowboy hat, who's just walking around like, all right, do it. All right, do it. We'll show you. And some of that doesn't play very well because some of the conflict seems to have been moved off from being actual conflict and more so just something that's added in there for lines. This is evident when you have that photo finish of Ford finishing 1, 2, 3 in the 66 Le Mans, and there's some dialogue there that kind of shows that it may or may not have been something that Beebe was trying to plan as kind of a an up yours to Carrol Shelby and in turn Ken Miles, because he is volatile in this film, and Christian Bale does a good job. My only real complaint about him in the film is that he does have an accent that seems to traverse the entirety of Great Britain. Starts off with one accent, ends with another. Sometimes even from shot to shot, his accent seems to change. I'll give him this. He definitely goes for it, full hog on it. He's not worried at all, but it is a little bit out there if you are, someone that can differentiate the varying British Isles accents. It does kind of read a little bit different. You're like, wait, wasn't he just having a little bit different of a voice? Now he has this one. But still, that's just nitpicking. It's not really bad, nor does it really stick out too much, because you do see skinny Christian Bale, and he's given the role his all. On closing thoughts on this one, do I feel that this was a necessary film to be made? I don't know. It was one of those films that seems to have been a compilation of probably two films. One of it is there has been a rumor for a long-simmering Carrol Shelby biopic, and that's been languishing in production hell for years and never seemed to come down the pipeline. And it seems like they did kind of just take Carrol Shelby's character, add a little bit of his personal story into the start of this film, and then kind of fill it out with the whole rivalry of Ford versus Ferrari in the mid through the late 60s at Le Mans. And like I said, it turned out to be a good film. Great film? Nah, I don't think it's quite there yet. I'm sure it will garner quite a few awards, nominations for acting, and some of the other various set direction, things like that. Sound editing especially, it is very, very, very good in terms of how they edited the sound, the cars, but it does just get a little bit too fast and furious-y when they start talking about how once you hit 7,000 RPMs, everything goes quiet, you narrow your focus in. And again, like I said, it seemed like this should be something Vin Diesel should be quoting to, God rest his soul, Paul Walker's character in The Fast and the Furious, rather than a conversation between two very high-quality actors in Matt Damon and Christian Bale in this instance. I would certainly recommend this film if you do have 2 hours and 40 minutes to watch, but I would say this, that don't go in expecting it to just blow you away. It probably won't do that, because it is a very niche subject when you focus on, of course, auto racing, and then, of course, the characters are well enough, or do good enough, that they're able to kind of pull in more people and kind of move a little bit away from the racing angle. But it really is, it's a racing and an auto sports film that does require a lot of love there of that lane to be able to be like, okay, this is a muy bueno film that I want to see, or this is a very good film that I want to see. But again, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think it was worth the 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes, give or take. But how long will it be till I see it again? Probably a while. I don't think it's a best picture contender this year, but who knows? Thank you.